instructed that we should learn in Yonim of Gola Mashiach and in Yonim of the Beis Hamikdash. Throughout the generations, we know other tzaddikim who have. It's well known that the Chafetz Chaim had a talus prepared, a Shabbos beged prepared that he would learn in his yeshiva in Yonei Kachim because he was a kohen and he wanted to be prepared. Yeah, but here in this 3 weeks, Chazal tell us specifically the importance of learning of in Yonei Beis Hamikdash. The Rebbe brings a Medrash Tanchuma. The Medrash Tanchuma says that by learning the halachas, the Rebbe pushes this. It's mamish as if you're building the Beis Hamikdash today. There is an interesting vart on the pasuk va'asuli mikdash v'shachanti b'soichan. Right, the Eibishter says in Parshas Truma, make for me a mikdash v'shachanti b'soichan. And the pasuk goes on to say, "K'chol asher ani mara ischa," everything I show you, as tavnis on mishkan, as kol kelev, the way I want the mishkan and the kelim should be, kain tasu. So Chazal say, what does it mean, kain tasu? As the way I instruct you now to do it, kain tasu l'dayres, for generations to come. This is how the mishkan, the Beis Hamikdash, is done. So the Sfas Emes interprets that pasuk v'chein tasu. He says, guess what? We're living now in California, Minnesota. We're in Golus Shebegolus. We're in Golus Shebegolus. But when a yid has a tshuka, when a yid has a strong desire, v'chein tasu, that he wants to build the Beis Hamikdash, he will actually be zoicha, have the schus to merit the coming of the Mashiach and see the Beis Hamikdash. As the Rebbe would always quote the famous Yerushalmi, the Rebbe is a very famous sikha where the Rebbe screams this: Kol der shalei nivna Beis Hamikdash b'yamav ki'ilu nechrav b'yamav. Anybody living in a generation where the Beis Hamikdash is not being built in your generation, if you didn't find it important to beg and cry and learn about Mashiach, learn about Geula, it's as if you, Rachmana litzlan, not you, me, if I don't have that strong desire, I want Mashiach, I want Beis Hamikdash, it's not only I'm lacking the building it, it's Ki'ilu Rachmana litzlan nechrav b'yamav. And the Rebbe, there's a famous sikha where the Rebbe screams that if a person is not bothered by Mashiach, not bothered by the lack of the Beis Hamikdash, you are destroying the Beis Hamikdash. And one of the ways we show how important it is to us is when we learn the halachas and we learn the inyanim of the Beis Hamikdash. Because obviously, if a person is learning a topic, he obviously enjoys that topic. People choose what to learn. So that is just another form of showing how much we want this. I always have this is my eigen taich, but I like it, so I'm going to repeat it. In Shemona Esrei, in Musaf on Shabbos, we say Sheta'aleinu b'simcha la'artzeinu. The Eibishter, please bring us up b'simcha la'artzeinu. This is the only place where it's mentioned. Usually throughout the davening you say, Eibishter, please take us out of Golus, take us out of this mess. However, as the Rebbe would always say, the Eibishter will grab us by the hand, nish mit unser Ratzen sein bei rein in Golus, und nicht mit unser Ratzen will take out. The Eibishter will just push us out, drag us out. Here in Shemona Esrei we say, Sheta'aleinu b'simcha la'artzeinu. And I try to explain this by saying, you walk into a chasna hall and you see people dancing, you might not know nobody in that room, but you just gaze at the people dancing. Within 2 minutes, you'll have figured out who is the chassan, who is the chassan's father, who is the kala's father. Of course, you're not looking in the women's section, right? So it's the chassan. How are you going to figure it out? Because when you're going to see 100 people dancing, you will see who's dancing and who's partying, who's there for the fun and games, who's the tag along, and who's really involved. Who, by Vemen, is this real simcha? So the Eibishter, what we are saying in Shemona Esrei is, Eibishter, I don't want to just, I know Mashiach is coming, that's for sure. Golus is we're done. The Eibishter is taking us out. I don't want to be a spectator. I don't want to be a spectator. I want to be the ones that's besimcha. I want to be the ones that was waiting for this, and I am the mechutin here with Mashiach comes. You know, the Rebbe. There's a famous story of the Rebbe. The Rebbe asked a kid about baseball. I remember the punchline is that there's a person watching the game, and then there's the person playing the game. The person playing the game is all verschwitzt, all verkackt, and the people sitting in the stands, they're just spectators. We don't want to be spectators. We want it to be Shataleinu b'simcha la'artzeinu, and the true happy people are the ones who are involved. How are we going to be involved? We're the Farton in Long Beach. Couldn't be any more clipper than Long Beach, right? Or Los Angeles. How do we how do we get involved? So the Rebbe tells us to learn about Mashiach, learn about Beis Hamikdash. It will enhance our involvement. The Rebbe says, I can slip my mind. What was the next point? So I want to learn maybe one or two psukim. Chazal tell us that in these different sugyas that you can learn. We all know this pshat, remesh, drush, and side. So you could learn halachas. Many people today learning hilchas based on Bchira Rambam with the sichos of the Rebbe. Many people have other things. Each one which draws his attention most. Chazal tell us that Agada is Moshe Chalev. You know, there's a line in Tanya. I don't think people ever I don't see people quoting this. It's in the end of Tanya, but the Alter Rebbe says that learning Ein Yaakov, which is the Agada, which is the stories of the Gemara, is so special. It's mechaperas avoinav shaladim. I read that. Learning Agada, learning the stories in the Gemara is there's a line in Tanya like that. Mechaperes avoinav shaladim. So sometimes, you know, hard, difficult halachas like you just learned over there, Malicha. What did you learn? Malicha, Basa B'chalav, or whatever it was. We spend most of our day learning that, but we spend the day learning because we got to know what to do. So I don't know if we're doing it so much l'shem shamayim. We're doing it because this is our business. This is what we have to do. But when you want to see if you connect, Agada is Mesheches Alev. So I figured not so many people are going to go into the psukim of what's going on here. Let's start with this first keli, and maybe I could call it the most important keli in the Beis Hamikdash, and see what the pasuk says, what it is symbolic for, and what kind of hayra it may teach us. Okay? So, first of all, the pasuk, this is in Parashas Truma, where the Eibusha tells us, "V'asli mikdash shesachanti b'seicham," and I'll spend time maybe on the first two psukim of the first keli. The first pasuk of the keli of Aaron. Obviously, the Aaron is the most important one. There's the difference between how it's written in Parashas Truma and how it's written in Parashas Vayakel. What was done first was the bias, was the structure, the outer layer structure done first, or the kalim do first, and then he makes a difference between a melech, bus of Adam, and how the Eibishter builds his structures. But the pasuk says, "Va'asu arayin atzei shitim." The first keli which is mentioned is you should build a arayin. Arayin simple taich is a box. Atzei shitim. I think they translate as see the word, yeah, in English. Amasayim v'chetzi arkoi. It should be 2.5 amas long. V'ama v'chetzi rachboi, 2.5 amas wide. V'ama v'chetzi kaimasoi, and 1.5 amas tall. So what we usually say in our sizes, a amma is about a foot and a half. So if you have 2.5 amas, that would be about 5 feet. About 5 feet. A foot and a half would be each 3, 4, so 4.5 feet, something along that line. The boxes were 4.5 feet, and that's what made up the Aron. So Rabbi said, let's see let's be medayik. You know that every word and every letter in the Torah is pinklach. Let me tell you what says in different svarim. Some are in Pashtanim in the Chumash, and some are based on Maimorei Chazal. Va'asu li mikdash v'shachanti b'soichan. Now va'asu arain atzei shitim. You should make over here an arain made out of cedar wood. It is interesting to note that the arain was only in the Mishkan and in the Bayis Rishon. There was no arain visible in the Bayis Sheni. And all the Mefarshim have a shaila. The Gemara says in Masechta Yuma, Ki arain nignaz b'soif yimei Bayis Rishon, that the arain was hidden at the end of Bayis Rishon, so Bayis Sheni did not have an arain. What is the big question? How could you build a Bayis Sheni without an arain? If just like they had menorah, just like they had the other kalim, if the Torah says va'asu li mikdash, and the Torah tells you the instructions what makes up a Beis HaMikdash, how did they not build another aron? And there are many answers given to this. The Ramban in Sefer Mitzvahs answers, because since the aron's main purpose is for the luchos, and in Bayis Sheni there was no luchos, there was no need for the luchos, so therefore there is no need to make an aron. The Rashash in the Gemara says the same thing. Here the Rebbe has a phenomenal chiddush. If you look in the back of the Hilchos Beis Abchira with the letters of the Rebbe, with the sichos of the Rebbe, in Siman Yud, the Rebbe says, I didn't have to build one because it was there. For says it was there. The Beis HaMikdash, the second Beis HaMikdash, was basically rebuilt on the same place where the first Beis HaMikdash was. Shlomo HaMelech, when he finished off the first Beis HaMikdash, he milechatchila knew what's going to happen, and the first will be Nechrav Rachmana Litzlan. He built a place where the aron should be put inside underground. The aron being underground is just as good as if it was in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Uvechein, the second Beis HaMikdash, you did not have to build a new aron. Wherever it was over there underground, it's as if it's in the Beis HaMikdash. And the Rebbe is a tremendous mechadish in this. And the Rebbe tells us, for me and you now. Now me and you are in Golus, in California. Where are you, Weingarten? You must be in Detroit, huh? Yeah. And also a Klippa. In these places, you shouldn't think that we're lacking. The aron is here. It's not visible the way it was in the Beis HaMikdash, in the first Beis HaMikdash, so the Rebbe says that it wasn't like the second Beis HaMikdash. They weren't mekayim the mitzvah va'asuli aron atzei shitim. And actually, there was no need to be build another one. So that's the first thing about the word va'asu aron atzei shitim. The Ramban in the Chumash is Ma'or Shaila. The Shaila that many people ask, and it's brought from the Medrash, that we find that any other keli is not va'asu, they shall, yal shall. It's va'asisa. Why punkt by aron? It is va'asu, plural, lashon rabim. So let me read you the words. Let me take off my glasses because I'm an old man. Let me read you the words of the Ramban. The Ramban says, "V'chein amru b'medrash Rabbah, me'ma b'chol ha'kelim kosiv va'asisa, u'va'aron kosiv va'asu, aron. Amar Rabbi Yehuda b'Rab Shalom." Rabbi Yehuda said the name of Rab Shalom. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Eibishter says, what's the aron all about? The aron all about is the Sefer Torah, the luchos. The aron symbolizes Torah. Excuse me, Torah ain't only for Moshe Rabbeinu. It's not v'asisa. Torah is for everybody and anybody. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibishter says, Yavai HaKoil, anybody should come. v'yisasku ba'arain, and get involved in the building of the arain, because everybody should be yisku l'Torah. So the shaila is, excuse me, in Parshas Vayakel, we know not everybody did it, but Betzalel did it. So how did everybody have their input? Says the Ramban, va'asik, and the involvement everybody had in the Torah was sheyisnadev kol echad klei zav. Everybody should chip in some gold for the arin. Oy yazer leBetzalel ezermat, or if Betzalel needed a screwdriver, I obviously didn't use it by screwdriver. If Betzalel needed to schlep something, help him out. So the Ramban says that he explains, it's not his pshat. He brings this from the Medrash, that because Arain symbolizes Torah, it's not you, it's everybody. Everybody in Klal Yisrael has to be involved in the making of the Aron. That's the va'asu, and not va'asisa. The next word is the word Aron. Va'asu Aron. Give a look at the Baal HaTurim. Again, I'm gonna be a magid, a Baal Darshan, instead of my typical halacha shach and taz. Let's be a Baal Darshan there. So the Baal HaTurim says Arain. He gives you Arain, the word Arain. Iron. It's the same letters as the word iron, light. Sheyesh ba'en iron shel Yisrael, because the Arain is the light of Jewish people. It is the Torah which is the light of the Jewish people. And the word Arain also makes up a different word, the same letters, makes up the word Noira, fire, fearful. Kihu eish eichla, because the Arain is a flam fire. Torah is eish eichla. Then he says Arain, the gematria. If you want to use the word, you want to use the method of gematrias. The first method he was talking about playing around the letters. Then he says Arain is a gematria nezer. Nezer is a crown. What's the Arain with the crown? So it's wissen sein that there's many crowns that a person could get. He could be rich, he could be good looking, he could be a Talmud Chacham. Which is the best crown that you could get? Shekeser Torah Oila Alaksarim. The crown of Torah is the biggest crown. And therefore, he's medayik. The pasuk says, "Va'asisa olav zeir zav." You make the zer, the little rim on top. In this keli, it says you should do it olav. By the other kelim where there was a zer, like the shulchan, it doesn't say asisa olav. It says asisa loy, because the keser ta'ira is the best keser you could get. Is oyla al gabein. You have to figure out the Mishnah, where the Mishnah says keser shemtiv. And the answer, Pashtus, is somebody's a real ben Torah. He also has the keser shemtiv. So that's the va'asu. That is Arin. What's the next word? The next word is atzei shittim. You make an Arin out of atzei shittim. Now, Lepoyu, you're going to read the next pasuk. The next pasuk says it wasn't only atzei shittim. It was mibayis umechutz titzapenu zav. There were 3 layers, right? There were 3 boxes. There's the outer box that was gold. There was the middle box, inside box that was wood, and then the inner box again gold. So yet, the Gemara asks in you, Mataka de Shaila, why do you call it Arein Atzei Shittim when it's more gold? It's more gold than Atzei Shittim. The inner and outer layer is gold. And the Gemara talks about that, how there's actually a halacha proven from this that you have to support a Talmud Chacham. But put that aside. But what's the significance of the Atzei Shittim? So in the Drush Svarim, it says, what is the difference between gold and wood? Over here, there's a combination. It's not only gold, and it's not only wood. And it's brought that the mila of gold is that you can't, it doesn't disappear. It doesn't rot. It gets dirty, it gets rusty, but it doesn't disappear. Whereas wood rots and shrivels up and it's gone. What is the mila of wood over gold? Gold is a sort of a diamond. Gold what it is, it stays. It stays like this forever. Wood, a tree grows. A tree grows. It's interesting that we note Eitz Chaim Hila Machazikim Ba. It's a tree of life for those who support it, for those who hold on to it. Now, let me first speak about the Aron, then we'll get to the pasuk Eitz Chaim Hila Machazikim Ba. The Torah that's in the Aron, it's picture perfect. It's a Muslim. It's not, you can't fix that Torah. It's unfixable, meaning it is perfect as it is. But that's symbolic in the gold. It is what it is, and it's perfect. The person learning the Torah is meant to grow like the eitz. It's meant to produce fruit like the eitz. And that's why we have this combination. That's why we have the combination of the two things. Side the gold, that it is solid and it's here forever, and side the wood, where the wood shows us that you can't just take it, the person can't just take it and just let it. He has to grow with it. A yid has to grow with it. I saw an interesting shot on Shabbos. It's a little off the track, but I might as well share it with you. What is the Lashna pasuk? Eitz Chaim Hila Machazikim Ba v'Simcheha Me'usha. What does that mean? The literal translation: it's a tree of life, La Machazikim Ba, for those who grab it, v'Simcheha, and those who support it, Me'ushar, are praiseworthy. What's the difference between Machzik and Toimech? What are the different terms? It seems to be the same thing. So I saw a nice shot. Machzik means a person falls out of a plane. A person falls out of a window, chas v'shalom, and he's falling down, and he catches onto a tree on his way down, and he's holding onto the tree, and the tree saved him. He is falling, but he is being saved by being machzik onto the tree. Taimcheha is no. I am supporting it. It is wibbling. It's wobbly. And I'm holding it up that it shouldn't fall. So a Torah learning Jew, sounds a little Litvish what I'm saying here. A Torah learning Jew, he realizes that emes a Chassidish Yiddish Jew, he realizes I'm falling. My mitzvah is the way what's holding me not to fall into the shmutz is the fact that I'm holding on to this twig. I'm holding on to the branch of Torah. The guy who's not learning yet, and the guy who thinks the money runs the world, and he'll give a donation to a yeshiva here, let it be our Elchanan. He gives any yeshiva donation, and with that he feels, he feels that he's the one that's holding up the tree. Without him, the tree, the Torah chas v'shalom is going with the wind. No. You have to be a machzik Torah, and Toimech is good. But remember, the Toimech also has to be a machzik Torah. So over here, the Aron, you have to be side the quality of the gold, that it doesn't disappear, it stays, and side the quality of the tree, of the wood, that it's a growing thing. It's a tree. It's a growing thing. Shitim, cedar wood. I know why. I don't know why Chazal makes such a big fuss. I was trying to look it up. Chazal makes such a big fuss. Where did the Yidden have in the Midbar Atei Shitim? Yaakov Avinu took it, planted in Mitzrayim. That the whole discussion is usually by the Krushim. Nobody mentions it. I don't see anybody mention. And the other, there's a Keli that needs Atei Shitim. Obviously, it's the same answer, but the same question. Obviously, I'm thinking that the Aron had Atei Shitim. It's the same. They had some leftover shittim that they used, some for crushing, some for the Aaron. And all that Aaron, Yaakov foresaw when he planted it years earlier in Mitzrayim. What is the size of the Aaron? Amasayim v'chetzi arkoi, v'ama v'chetzi kamasei. I read it right? I skipped something. Amasayim v'chetzi arkoi, ama v'chetzi rachboi, v'ama v'chetzi kamasei. Fine. What is unique about these measurements? So everybody sees that the Baal Turim quotes and the Chazal know the Baal Turim quotes that it says Kol midosov hoyu shvuros. There's always a half. Why is a half? Why not 2, 3, 4? Why is amasayim v'chetzi? Ama v'chetzi. So it's obvious what this is teaching us. It's teaching us that who is able to learn Torah, who is able to be machzik or koine, the king in Torah, only if he's a chetzi. A chetzi means he's mashpalatzmai. He has another humility, humble. But if I'm picture perfect, that's not what the Aron is all about. What does the Gemara say special about these measurements? And the ganze Chassidus is miyused on this. The Gemara in Yuma says, Makim ha'arayin einay min amida. I just read a pasuk where the pasuk says there is size to the aron. When they put the aron into the Kodesh HaKodashim, it did not take up space. That's the literal translation. Makim ha'arayin einay min amida. So how does Chassidus? What is the Chassidus term for this, my Sharon?
Nimna Nimois.
Bingo. In Chassidus, they call that Nimna Nimois. What is Nimna Nimois? It's in Gashmis. It's mugbol in Gashmis. But in Gashmis it's not part of Gashmis. There's Nissim. Asarin Nissim Nasel Avisain Beis Hamikdash, right? This is a different type of nest. What's a different? It's interesting. As I'm saying this, when the Mishnah says Asarin Nissim Nasel Avisain Beis Hamikdash, why doesn't it mention this one? I just thought about the question. Let me give myself a pat in the back. Why doesn't it mention this one? Very simple. That the rain didn't extinguish the fire, the smoke, or that nobody got sick. Is that a thing that's, wow, that's a mess. But Rahman al a lot of people today are sick and not sick. It could happen, it could not happen. But that a thing should be told to us to be built in a certain measurement. You made it in a certain measurement. And at the same time, not taking up space, that's a different league than the Asar and Nissim, Shemasim Avisanim Mikdash. I don't know, there must be something to that. So that is was Matzich from Yid. At the same time, there's a Chassidish shot from Makim Ha'arein Einam in Amida. Makim Ha'arein Einam in Amida means not only be Tayu, be L'chatchila River, Einam in Amida, Nimna Noise. We have the powers to do anything. That's a Rebbe Marash's Chassidish shot. But what is simple touch? Makim Ha'arein. If you want to make yourself a place where the Arein is able, the Torah is able to dwell, Eina min amida. You are not part of the equation. You are not part of the measurement. Make sure that your ego doesn't get into the way. A person that measures things up, how it's good for him, and how he, I, the Arein doesn't go there. There is no I in Torah. It's we, even though v'seichel keinu b'sarasecha. So from the first pasuk itself, v'asu arin atzei shittim, you have all these beautiful heroes. Now, the Chassam Sofer says that the arin was built, as mentioned, and you should look in the Sipsei Chachamim, even on that pasuk, 3 arenas. The outer and inner layers were gold, and the middle was eights. So the Chassam Sofer says this too is very symbolic of how a Torah, a Talmud Chacham Yid, has to work, has to behave. The Gemara says that a Talmud Chacham always has to wear clean clothes, nice clothes. Should be respectful. Ad kedei kach, a Talmud Chacham should nimtze revavo big day. Talmud Chacham that you see a schmutz on his, it's chayiv misa. The Gemara says in Shabbos. So this is what it is. Mi bayis umi v'chutz, the external, the looks of the Talmud Chacham externally has to look gold. Mi b'chutz, all the way inside, his connection. Mi bayis, all the way inside. What is he all about? It's also, I'm a proud Jew. That's gold. But in between being a proud Jew and looking good and representing, being a shliach of Torah in a very powerful way, sandwich in between that is a broken-hearted piece of wood. And this is the famous stories that we heard about the Rizhana, the Rebbe Marash, that from the outside they had golden chains or had fancy horses driving, and inside gutze brachen. The Rebbe Marash acted in Ashiris, the Rebbe says, but under all that was a gutze brachen the Yid. So that is the Ribayis Umechutz. Let me tell you some interesting tidbits that I found on this pasuk. First of all, the Klei Yakar mentions, and I saw it also somewhere else, that in this pasuk there is in the psukim that cover Aaron, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 psukim cover the whole Aaron. There is every letter of the Aleph Beis but the letter Gimel. But the letter Gimel. What's the significance of this? So the Klei Yakar says that because the Aaron is symbolic for studying a Torah, so you could study Torah for anything. For every Yid should study Torah. There's one exception when not to. Gimel. Gimel means Gimel. If you're doing it to get a reward, that's not good. That's the Klei Yakar's taich. I don't know. If I was asked what's negative about Gimel, I would say Gaiva, Gedula. If somebody's doing it, right? So don't make it as a don't become all uppity because of it. That's what I would say. But actually, in the Sifsei Chachamim, he notes this also, that there's no Gimel here. He says 22 letters of the Aleph Beis shows that the Torah takes over every way, form, speech. The letter Gimel is not. I didn't have to say Gimel because there were 3 arenas. That's what he says. Another remez, Arain Atzei Shittim. Arain Atzei Shittim is Bigematria 786. Moshe Emes is Bigematria 786. I'm just showing. I'm telling you things that many other people will tell you the Rambam and I want to give you some tidbits. What's Moshe Chalev? All right, I want to conclude with a nice story. It's a very famous story. I read it once, that it's written about, it happened to one of our Rebbes. There was this Apikoros that came over to one of the Lubavitcher Rebbes, and he says, Rebbe, what are you all excited about Mashiach, Beis HaMikdash? It ain't happening. And I'll tell you, from your Torah, I'll prove that Mashiach, no new Beis HaMikdash is happening. Really? Where? Because when the Navi describes the second Beis HaMikdash, it says, Gadol yiyeh habayis ha'achrein min harishain. The last one will be bigger than nicer and bigger than the first one. So in other words, the second Beis HaMikdash was achrein. Aha! There is nothing after achrein. So this is what he came to the Rebbe and said, there's no more, no other Beis HaMikdash coming. You yourself write Achrein. So the Rebbe says, let's look of another pasuk where the word Achrein is used. The word achrein is used by the Makkas. By the Makkas, it says that the Pare wasn't listening. He didn't listen. First, they gave him the snake, and the snake turned into the wood turned into a snake, right? And over there, it also says that there will be another makkah, and that was the makkah of dam. And he uses the word achrein. And yet we know that after makkah's dam, there were many more. There were many, many more makkahs. So achrein doesn't mean the last. Achrein means the latest. And then the Rebbe says, and this is actually also understood what the pasuk says, that when the Yidden put dam on the doorposts in Mitzrayim, so the makas b'chayres, he would know which house a Yid lives in. He'll jump over. It says, "V'hoyelachem la'ois al bateichem." The dam would be a sign which homes are Jewish. It says that's not the only thing what it means. It says it means better. The dam, makas dam, should go through your mind as a ois, as a sign that bateichem, that your batei mikdash is not only two. That's the proof that even though by makas dam it says achrein, and there were others to follow, by the bias rishon and the bias sheni, where it says achrein, we are desperately waiting, and we are guaranteed, and we are sure that there will be another one. And the Rebbe would always quote from the Rambam that the Beis Hamikdash is oimed, and it's prepared milamayla, and it just the right time has to come, and Mashiach just has to adjust it in the right place. He'll have to put it b'mkaimai, and let's hope and pray that we'll be able to do this year very, very, very soon. B'mheira v'yameinu.
Amen.
All right. Now, you cut off the recording?
I have to figure out, because I switched to a laptop in the middle, from a laptop to a phone. So laptop lesson tonight. I can only turn it off during a laptop.
No, but
what did Yitzi? You could cut this part out. What?
I want to know if Yitzi put me on the firing range.
Yeah,
okay, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody is going to say halacha here, halacha. I wonder if there's something different. I'm a different type of guy. Hello, I hope I'm not being recorded. Because this part is being recorded.
I'm going to cut it out. I just don't have the.
Yeah, but
I'm not able to stop it.
I make a weekly newsletter for online Smith. You get it because you're a Talmud there for a little while. So I want to put it on there this goes to 2,000 people. Yitzi, I don't get. Does Yitzi gives out his weekly Dvar Torah? Still comes out?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Who sends it out?
I don't know if he sends it out. It's on the blog. I haven't seen it in a few weeks.
Blogs? I'm all a Torah boy. I don't know anything about blogs.
I'll send you the WhatsApp. I'll send you the link.
What? I got to sign up to a blog?
No. It's just a website where he posts it.
Okay, but it doesn't get sent out to people?
I don't think so.
No. If I have to work a little too much, I drop it already. You know what I mean?
I'm sharing it with you right now, the one you did last week.
Where are you sharing it? Where am I seeing it?
WhatsApp.
On WhatsApp. Yeah. Let me see. I got it already. Let me see if I got it. Okay. I just got it. All right. Very good. A true leader can't have his head in the clouds. Wow. So how do I get this without the WhatsApp?
It's that link.
What do you mean? I have to go there?
It's a website, yeah.
Who's in charge of the website?
Yitzi.
Whoever it is, they should put on top of the website, I think, a BH, a Baruch Hashem. The Rebbe was very mocked. I don't know. I don't know. I know by us in Minnesota, Rabbi Feller goes nuts about this because the Rebbe, particularly him, made him reprint flyers that he didn't have a BH in it. So please tell me that at my an online smicha website there is one. Let me go see if I only. Does it have one? An online smicha? I don't know. I hope it has. I don't know. I don't know. I get into online smicha. I get right to the back end. Okay, so I hope I'll let you guys go.
Yeah.
Everybody should be as healthy as they're able to. Send me this year. I'll put it up in my thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're just
Yitzi,
gonna have to
guys,
cut out the end.
cut out that.
Oh,
Yitzi,
Yitzi texted me he enjoyed.
enjoy. On a
I
scale,
just saw it
Yitzi,
now.
on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm a cleanup hitter. You know that. I look like Moshe Gazinski. On a scale. Is he answering? Oh,
Yeah.
what do you say?
1 second.
What are you doing now, Moshe?